Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Once Upon a Crescent, a collection of bedtime stories for young Muslim children. I am your author and storyteller, Mrs. Hashmi. Are you ready to travel to a land far, far away? Tonight's bedtime story is called Safiya's Science Experiment. In a quiet town inside a quiet house lived a little girl who liked being by herself, learning about things that only she felt were super interesting. Safiya had questions about everything, and she sought answers herself. Some of the questions that she had went like this. Why do roly-polies ball up in a roll when you touch them? Why are lizards always attracted to my front porch? What would happen if I tried to climb a tree that was newly planted in my backyard? Is it sturdy enough to hold my 8-year-old weight? Is it even possible to climb a tree that hasn't fully grown to an adult size yet? Safiya's quest for answers never stopped. She explored her questions and tested out her predictions because that's just how Safiya was. She always wondered why she was so different than the other girls in her class. She even looked differently because she had such a unique style for her clothes. Safiya's favorite color is black. Not pink, not purple, it's black. She had dragons on her t-shirts, she had ninja keychains on her backpack, and she had insects inside her pockets. Yes, like literally, she collected roly-polies and put them inside her pant pocket to take home with her. Safiya's mom would find these roly-polies in the laundry room every now and then, and she would just smile to herself because Mama knew exactly how much of a little scientist and explorer Safiya was. At school one morning, Safiya's teacher, Mrs. Hassan, announced, "Assalamu alaikum, class. I have some exciting news. In 2 weeks, we are going to host a talent show. If you are interested in participating and showcasing your unique talent for this show, then write your name on the sign-up sheet that's posted next to my desk." Lots of kids were excited to sign up. Safiya walked up to stand in line to write down her name and talent like the other girls in the class. She wrote down science experiments as her talent and put down the pencil. One girl behind her scoffed. "Ugh, that's not even a real talent, Safiya. We're going to put on a glow stick light show. You should join our group and be a part of some real talent," stated Halima. Safiya was taken aback. Conducting science experiments takes talent, skill, and lots of planning and practice for your information," replied Safiya. She was not liking Halima's tone. "If you say so, but if I was you, I'd drop that boring idea and join my group, so you don't look silly in front of the whole class," Halima said. Safiya walked back to her desk silently. She was feeling angry and hurt at Halima's attitude toward Safiya. At recess, Safiya gently played with her roly-polies that she found near the bushes. She spoke out loud to them since no one else was around. "Why would I give up something I love just to join Halima's group? Who is she to say that I will look silly doing my science experiments? That's just her opinion. That is not a fact. I think people will like my talent." Just then she heard a voice from behind her. "Assalamu alaikum, Safiya." It was Nusayba, her friend. "I saw you wrote down science experiment as your talent for the talent show. That's so brave of you to do something so different. So what will your experiment be? Will you be making slime? Oh, are you going to do a lava-themed experiment? Will something explode?" Nusayba's eyes were sparkling with excitement. Safiya smiled at her friend who was always there supporting her and cheering her to be her unique self. They both picked up a few roly-polies and placed them inside the palm of their hand. They treated these bugs like their very own recess time pets. "I'm thinking I'll do something using jelly beans," Safiya stated confidently. Ooh, I like the sound of that, Nusayba said cheerfully. Every morning, Halima would sneakily tease Safiya about her choice to showcase her science experiment talent, and somehow Safiya would end up feeling terrible that day. She would say things like, "So, how's your mad science experiment coming along? Will we be bored watching you talk about science tools and safety rules?" Safiya always defended herself, though, and she would reply, "It's coming along perfectly, actually. Maybe you'll learn a thing or two from me, Halima. I have a lot to teach people like you who think science is lame." After school, Safiya would watch the other girls in Halima's group practice their glow stick show routine. It was a very well-rehearsed routine. Halima had a way of leading her group of friends in doing the type of performance that she exactly wanted. Safiya could tell that their performance was going to be as close to perfect as possible. Those girls were putting a lot of effort, time, and practice into their talent show display. And that hard work is going to show beautifully when the time comes. Safiya felt proud of those girls in a funny way. She knew that they deserved to be cheered on for, especially because of all the time that they're putting in to get this routine right. Safiya also felt proud of herself, though. After school, she entered her bedroom and looked around the chaos. It was a beautiful chaos in her room. On her homework table, there were 3 bowls of jelly beans sorted in different colors, soaked in different liquids. One bowl had water in it, and only red jelly beans were soaking. The second bowl had orange jelly beans soaking in Coke. This bowl that had soda in it was fizzing and bubbling through the jelly beans. The third bowl had red and blue colored jelly beans soaked in water. Safiya was investigating what changes would occur to jelly beans if it was soaked in different liquids. Safiya's talent was her ability to see the world in an investigative lens. She came up with her own questions, and she also came up with her own ways of finding answers to these unique questions. After observing each bowl, she took pictures of the bowls. Safiya had her own science journal that she wrote down all her experiments and investigations in. She took that notebook out and wrote down her thoughts. Safiya then took a spoon and sipped on each of the liquids that were inside. The next morning, Mrs. Hassan, Safiya's teacher, excitedly wrote on the whiteboard, "Alhamdulillah, tomorrow is the talent show. After school, we will be going over our performances as a group, so please don't forget to stay after school for rehearsals." The school day passed by very slowly, maybe because Safiya was itching to go back home to see what changes she could see in her jelly bean bowls. As the bell rang for school to end, Halima's group of friends huddled together around a big black bag. Halima was handing out all of the group members something that was making them super excited. It seemed to be matching outfits for everyone. They all had dark purple dresses with purple slip-on hijabs with rhinestones on it. This was amazingly planned out by Halima. The girls were squealing over their matching hijabs as Safiya walked by. "Ooh, now we all will look totally camouflaged in the darkness while our glow sticks are beaming bright during the performance," Halima announced proudly. Safiya walked home after school, lost in thought. Safiya was not very focused on what she would wear tomorrow on the talent show. She didn't even really care about her performing outfit. She came home and slumped down on the chair at the breakfast table. Mama saw Safiya sad-faced and asked, "Why do you look so defeated, sweetie? Is something wrong?" Safiya spoke. "Well, I kinda am going to be defeated tomorrow at the talent show, Mama. The other girls look so nice in their matching outfits. They even have matching hijabs. Everyone is going to love their glow stick routine and all their beautiful dresses. I can't compete with that. I don't even look as nice as them," Safiya said, truly defeated in her voice. Mama put her arm around Safiya and hugged her softly. "Remember, Safiya, Allah looks not at how we look, but what is inside of our heart. You're not participating in a fashion show, sweetie. You are doing a talent show. There isn't winning and losing here. You're showing your class what is cool about you," Mama said, flexing her arm muscles in the air. "Do you want to showcase what's out here?" Mama said, tugging her clothes. "Or what's in here?" Mama asked, pointing to Safiya's heart and then her head. Safiya looked at her mama and smiled. "To show what's in here," Safiya said, placing her hand on her heart and pointing to her head. With that, Safiya sprang up to her feet to go check on her jelly beans. But before she could go, she looked at her mama, who was blowing kisses to her from across the table. Safiya giggled. "Mama, what are you doing?" "Oh, nothing. Just sending kisses to your brain, so it knows that it's loved and special and talented." Safiya giggled at her mama's silliness and walked to her room. Safiya started to practice her presentation for tomorrow. She spent about 1 hour doing her presentation over and over again. Later that evening, Safiya lied down in silence before closing her eyes for the night. She ended her night with a quiet dua in her heart. "Oh Allah, please let everything be perfect tomorrow for my talent show performance." The next morning, Safiya woke up extra early to gather all her things. Baba dropped her off to school and helped her with her materials. Baba waved salam as he exited the classroom. Halima and her group entered the classroom with their outfits and their matching purple hijabs already on. Halima looked to Safiya and glanced at her t-shirt and jeans and raised an eyebrow at Safiya's choice of clothing for today. Safiya felt really small all of a sudden. She looked down at her black Dragon Warrior t-shirt and her light blue jeans. She hadn't dressed up for the talent show because she didn't feel the need to. But now she remembered that in a few moments, when it's her turn to go, all eyes will be on her. Safiya was starting to feel so nervous and uncomfortable in the clothes that she was in. Her hijab was slightly wrinkled, she noticed. I should have dressed up a little nicer today. Safiya was starting to feel a lump in her throat. You know that feeling right before you're about to seriously start crying, but you try super hard to keep it all in together? Yeah, that feeling. Nusayba walked by and gently reminded her friend, "Safiya, you look so nervous. Don't worry. You're going to do awesome. I promise. You're an expert at science investigations, and everyone will see how much you love it today. Don't forget to say Bismillah when you're up on the stage." Safiya put her head down on her slightly wrinkled hijab and closed her eyes tight. "Okay, Bismillah. Safiya, you got this. Remember, it's what's in here," Safiya said, putting her hand on her heart, then putting it on her head. "Okay, it's what's up here that truly matters. Bismillah. Oh Allah, please let this go perfectly." "Safiya," Mrs. Hassan called out, "Sweetie, you're up first. Are you okay? Do you need a minute?" Safiya lifted her head up slowly and looked at her teacher. Safiya decided to just get up and tackle this performance on. "Okay, Bismillah. I'm nervous, but I'm also brave. I can do this. I practiced this. I got this." Safiya spoke to herself in her head. Safiya's table was set up neatly with a huge jar of jelly beans placed in the middle. All the kids were staring at that jar, whispering to each other about the different flavors that they've already tried. Okay, this is a good start. Kids like jelly beans. You like jelly beans. I like jelly beans. Science likes jelly beans. I got this. Safiya walked to the center of the stage. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Today I am going to demonstrate to you all the talent of asking investigative questions. I have a jar of jelly beans here. I could sit here and eat them, or I could experiment with them and eat them. Want to see how?
Yes!
The classroom audience was yelling back at her. Even Halima and her friends were eagerly waiting to see and hear more. Okay then, so before we can begin, we have to first taste test what a jelly bean tastes like. So take this bag and pass it along and take 2 jelly beans for your own personal taste testing. While you do that, I'm going to soak my jelly beans in different liquids. I'm going to soak one in water, Safiya said, showing the bowl of water, and Coke, showing the bowl of Coke, and 2 different flavored jelly beans I'm going to put in this bowl of water here. The kids were so excited to be able to participate with Safiya for her performance. Safiya handed a large bag of jelly beans to the student sitting at the front row, and she instructed him to pass this bag along. After a while, she asked, "Okay, raise your hand if you have already tasted your jelly bean." Nearly all the kids raised their hands and nodded. So while all you were taste testing, I allowed these jelly beans to soak in different liquids, Safiya said. Can I get a volunteer to come taste these liquids for me? Everyone rose their hands so excitedly, whispering, "Ooh, me, pick me." Safiya picked 2 boys to come to the stage and sip on these liquids. Isa and Musa walked to the stage ready to sip on the different liquids. Isa tried the cherry-flavored water one and exclaimed, "The water tastes like cherry candy!" "And this water tastes like fruit punch," said Musa. Musa looked down at his bowl and exclaimed again, "Oh, and it's not red or blue. This bowl is purple." He turned it toward the audience and it spilled everywhere. Mrs. Hassan came to the stage to clean it up. Musa was walking over to the bowl with Coke in it, but Safiya stopped him right on time. "Wait, we're not going to try that one. You can observe it, but you can't sip on it." Safiya looked to the audience. "Can I get another volunteer to come up here? And maybe that volunteer can tell everyone what they see different about these jelly beans." Mrs. Hassan nodded and showed the 2 boys down from the stage. Halima was eagerly making eye contact with Safiya. She was wanting to get picked so she could be the volunteer to come on stage. Safiya pointed to Halima and said, "Yes, Halima, why don't you come up and tell us?" Halima looked closely into the bowl with Coke in it and gasped. "Well, these jelly beans look so deformed and different, and the shapes are all weird. There's even holes that are inside of them. Safiya, can I show the audience the difference between these jelly beans and the ones that were soaked in Coke?" Safiya nodded. Halima picked up the 2 jelly beans and lifted them in the air. "Look, you guys," she said, talking to the audience. "This is a regular jelly bean, but this is the one that was soaked in Coke. Oh my God, and look at the difference in the 2 textures. This is so cool to me." Halima turned around to Safiya and exclaimed, "Maybe you should be teaching a science lesson every day." Everyone in the audience laughed, including Mrs. Hassan. One kid in the audience raised his hand to ask a question. "Did you want to ask something?" Safiya asked, pointing to the boy.
Hey Safiya, your science experiment was amazing, and the jelly beans really soaked, and now the water looks so blue and red, and it's kind of like a rainbow. It looks super cool.
After Abdurrahman's comment, Mrs. Hassan started clapping and cheering for Safiya, and she spoke out loud, "MashaAllah, we really enjoyed this performance. You absolutely have a talent for investigating science experiments. MashaAllah, may Allah increase this in you, Safiya," Mrs. Hassan said proudly. "Can we have more jelly beans, Mrs. Hassan?" Isa and Musa asked together. Mrs. Hassan laughed. No, not right now. We have to continue our show. Up next is Halima and the Glow Stick Performance Group. Safiya walked back from the stage to her desk, and she felt so proud and happy with herself. Alhamdulillah, she said to herself in her heart. Halima patted Safiya on the back as she was walking up to the stage with her friends. She patted her back and whispered, "That was awesome, Safiya." Safiya sat up straight to watch this group's performance. Halima asked for all the lights to be turned off. It was totally dark in the classroom, and the class heard drums beating. Slowly, one by one, light started to emerge from the stage where Halima's group brought forward the glow sticks. They moved the glow sticks around in perfect circles together. There were zigzag motions, and one by one, the different colors of the glow sticks came together in a row and then spaced out around the room super quick. It was an amazing light show, and the coolest part was that Halima and her group were doing everything according to the beat and the pace of the drums. Wow, thought Safiya. This really is their unique talent. MashaAllah. Safiya quietly wondered to herself. For all the kids in her classroom that didn't participate and didn't sign up, she wondered what hidden talent was waiting to be discovered by each of them. Maybe all those that didn't sign up will find their unique passion later on in the school year.